Hello, my beautiful sisters in ministry out there. It is Reverend Jocelyn, and I'm excited to welcome you to another episode of Impact Women. Now, typically for our show, I interview other dynamic women of God who are doing great things to build the kingdom through their ministry, through their nonprofit work, anything that they're doing to glorify God. I love to bring dynamic women before you so you can be inspired and you can learn strategies to grow your ministry. But today, we're doing things a little differently. I actually will be sharing a little bit of resources and tools with you to help you to grow your ministry from my personal experience. And this show is also pre-recorded because my team is taking a week to reflect, to plan, and to create systems to move our business forward. More about that in a little bit. But for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet me yet, this is maybe your first episode. My name is Reverend Jocelyn, and I grew my ministry from a simple blog to a national trauma healing ministry. Now, that sounds great, but the whole process was not simple. It took me many, many, many years to do this. I actually remember when I first decided to leave my position at a youth center. I was executive director of a nonprofit. And when God was calling me to start my ministry, I was like, God, what does this ministry look like? I know I'm called, but like called to what? And how do I start this? And I started it as a blog. And it was just me writing stories week after week of God's faithfulness and how he helped people to heal from trauma. And then a couple months later, I wrote my first book. I got a coach and they helped me through that process of writing my book. And then I was invited by someone to what is called a trauma healing group, essentially a Bible study that is designed to help people heal from trauma. They use a curriculum that combines the Bible and mental health principles to guide people in a safe way through this healing group experience. And I went through that and I was like, this is it. Sign me up. And I started doing local groups. And then after doing local work in my community, I started expanding out to other churches across the country. And it's been God's grace that has allowed me to do that and to develop my Christian counseling practice. And it's definitely been bumps along the way, but God's faithfulness has been evident every step of the way. And so now I help other women to develop their parachurch ministry, their kingdom business, their calling beyond the church walls. I desire to walk with them to help them to answer it. So that is my mission. That is my work. And so today, even though I love interviewing other dynamic women of God, I wanted our team to take a pause. Why did we need to take a pause? Because we have been running like crazy for the last several months. Even through the holidays, we were working extremely hard because we had our annual conference that was taking place at the beginning of the year. And since then, we've just been running. And sometimes, even though activity is a good thing, if you don't take time to like slow down so you can speed up, then you will find yourself really burned out. You will find yourself at a place where you're running in circles. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. so so I said, oh, we gonna pause this week to get ourselves together to really ask the questions around, okay, where God is leading us in this season. How can we be a good steward over what God has given us? How can we make even a more significant impact in the lives of those who are called to serve? What went well this last quarter that we can lean into more? What didn't work well, where we might need to pivot from that? These are questions that we're asking, and we're asking about also how can we develop systems so that we can be more efficient with our time. And that requires to pause, to reflect, and then to plan. And so we're in the midst of having those conversations as a team this week because we want to make sure that we're intentional about how we show up for you, how we serve you, how we meet these needs. And that's the thing, sister, when it comes to this work, it's not always just about doing the thing. Yes, we applaud you for doing the thing. We applaud you for launching that website or running that social media ad or making that first post or whatever that thing is, yes, right? We celebrate that. But here's the other thing about it. We also want to take time to then pause and reflect. Okay, well, how did that go? If you launched something, what was the feedback around it? Did you get as many signups that you hoped for? Okay, no big deal if you didn't. It happens when you're first getting started. Okay, what might I tweak to make this a little stronger? Let me solicit some feedback from the people who is in my target audience so that I can learn more about how to move this forward. These are questions that we get to ask to learn from what we have done. So then we can plan a course of action to enhance whatever we have built. And this is the process, again, that my team is working on as we speak. And so that's why we're not live tonight, but I definitely wanted to show up for you, for those who do show up every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for our regular show. We'll be back as usual next week. But I also wanted to share with you some tools to help you with your planning, okay? So there are 2 tools that are very helpful. First, if you don't have a journal, I do have a ministry journal that's available for you, and it's for sisters like us, because every day it has a new quote that is designed to empower you, to encourage you in this ministry journey, because sister, it can be rough sometimes. And it just has a number of blank pages for you to capture those downloads from God as you're reflecting, as you're learning, as you are planning and mapping out your vision. So this journal, I'll put a link in the show notes for where you can grab a copy. But more importantly, I am really excited about my ministry launch planner. This is designed for any sister who is called to ministry, who's called to create a kingdom business, to get your stuff in order. Okay. And it really challenges you to map out your next 90 days. And so there's questions in here that are very intentional. Now, the first beginning of this section, or the beginning of this planner, there's a place for you to write out your vision. You probably can't see because of the lighting, excuse that, but there's a place to say, okay, what is one major project, initiative, or vision related to my ministry that I will prioritize launching within the next 90 days? Okay, then it has a place for you to write my personal commitment to God's vision for my ministry. So you're writing the vision, you're making it plain. All right. And then there's a place for you to put, again, this lighting's not letting me be great, but your success strategy. All right, well, it's here. Your success strategy for your morning routine, your evening routine, for you to map that out, your power scriptures. And then we're asking the question, what changes or sacrifices do I need to make to accomplish my vision for the ministry that God has given me? Then this section, I love this next section because it's for me as a creative. If you're listening and you're someone who gets downloads from God all the time, all these things that God is showing you to do, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm getting overwhelmed with all my greatness, all these ideas, then I created what is called a maybe later list. Okay, again, I wish I could show you. Yeah, you can kind of see this. It's your maybe later list for you to write down the dreams for your ministry that it might not be God's timing for you to work on it right now, but at some point you want to do that thing. And so the maybe later list is something that you can write out those ideas for the future and just have them in one safe place. Then I have a place for you to plan out your purpose-driven month. There's a couple of questions that I ask. Okay, so first, spiritually, what is God impressing upon my heart as the main focus for my ministry this month? Okay, because I like us to have some intentionality around what is the main project. So you're not all over the place. You prioritize, okay, this month, I am going to focus 100% of my time on launching my podcast. This month, I'm going to focus on finishing that rough draft of my book. This month, I'm going to focus on identifying a new board member. What's the focus for this month? Okay. Then there's a question around skill development. Okay. What specific skills or qualities do I want to develop this month to enhance my effectiveness in ministry? What are some books or podcasts or resources centered around faith and ministry that I will prioritize to grow and learn for inspiration? All right. And then it asks questions about milestones. Okay, what are the milestones I aim to achieve for my ministry by the end of this month? So those are some focus points. And then, of course, we have like the monthly planner where you kind of map out, okay, this is what I'm working on right now for the month. These are my deadlines. Then it has an area for you to identify your top 3 focus areas for the week. And that's something, again, this is a practice I encourage you to have. What are my weekly goals? What am I doing this week with my time? And then, of course, your daily to-do list. Now, I'm going to show you this. Don't judge me. My to-do list is so crazy. You see, I got, asterisks and everything all over the place. So I got my to-do list. But I have an area for my top 3 priorities. And then I have a section where it says, today I pray for, because we are women of God. And so I have a section, all right, these are the people who are top of mind for my prayers this week. A place for you to capture your notes, and then an end of the day reflection where you ask the question, how did I invest in my spiritual growth today? How did I acquire new skill and knowledge today? And how did I take imperfect action towards the vision that God has given me? Uh, this planner, I designed it, sis, with you in mind. And we actually have the travel size planner that I'm holding in my hand right now. But we also have a larger planner for those of you who you like the stuff big, you want to have it at your desk. We have limited copies available for our big planner. Okay, so I'll put links in the show notes for that as well. If you want to be able to use these tools to plan out your kingdom business. So this is a short episode just for me to check in with you, to encourage you, to give you access to a couple tools that I use throughout my day to help me to stay on point. So I hope you take advantage of that. And if you do decide to purchase a copy of any of these products that I shared today, please let me know by making a comment on today's show. I want to hear from you as it relates to how you like it, how it's helped you in terms of your ministry. So give me that feedback. We were just talking about that today's episode. I always love to hear from you. So that's it for today's episode. I hope that it gave you some ideas around some things that you can do as it relates to planning and reflecting for your ministry. Next week, we'll be back same time, same channel, Monday night at 7 p.m. Central with another great episode of Impact Women. So you stay encouraged, sister. You continue to make impact in this world, and I will see you next week. God bless.